You're leaving 1969, and you're traveling through time. Your next stop will be the future.
Live from the 60s.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-704-9936. 800-704-9936. 800-704-9936.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The weather is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. For low prices on snacks, soft drinks, and quality Marathon gasoline, visit the Clark's Pump and Shop nearest you. Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Return, refresh, refuel.
Cool Hits weather.
We'll see variable clouds today with scattered thunderstorms, a high of 83, 70% chance of scattered thunderstorms Saturday night, low of 68. We'll start out the day on Sunday with thunderstorms with a chance of scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. High should be of 78.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Well, it's time for me to fade back into history.
Live from the 60s.
I'm the real Don Steele, and remember, the love you take is equal to the love you make. I'll be back next week, same time, same station, and most of all, same decade.
Live from the 60s.
This program was created and produced by M.G. Kelly. Executive producer, Sean Steele. Associate producer, Michael Schoenfeld. Co-producer, Krista Anderson. Live from the 60s with The Real Don Steele is an M.G. Kelly production. All rights reserved.
The Cool Hits 105.7 studios are sponsored by Southern Ohio Medical Center. Cancer can be very scary, and cancer care can be complicated, but the SOMC Cancer Center takes you from what appears to be a maze to amazing care. SOMC, very good things are happening here.
Cool Hits 105.7 WLGC FM. Rena Ashland.
Portions of this program may have been pre-recorded.
Cool Hits 105.7 and the Cool Hits Sports Network now presents Let's Talk Sports. Get ready as we talk with players and coaches, take a look at the top stories in sports, and take a look at all the scores from the night before. It's Let's Talk Sports, brought to you by Kentucky Farmers Bank, Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State, Stoltz Pharmacy, River Cities Builders, and Wagner Rental and Supply. Now, let's talk sports with your host, James Collier.
And welcome into Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us here this morning. Lots of football action around the Bluegrass last night. The Cool TV scoreboard ticker going across your screen. You can check in on all of those scores from last night. And some good games, some games that were some blowouts. I think some games that may have some people talking. I think probably the biggest shocker of a score last night was Wheelersburg and Russell. Wheelersburg defeats Russell 28-21, but a much different looking Russell team last night against the Pirates. Greenup County goes to Louisa, gets a nice win over Lawrence County last night, 17-14. The Bulldogs had it 4th and goal from the 1 and fumbled the football and then couldn't get the ball back into the end zone, and that's how Greenup hangs on. So the Musketeers moved to 3-0 on the season. Raceland with a nice win last night over Rowan County, 40-3. We'll talk with head coach Mike Sammons here in just a little bit and discuss the win for the Rams as they get ready to make their first road trip of the 2022 campaign. Luke Creasy from the Huntington Herald-Dispatch will be in as well. We'll talk some Marshall football. They open up against Norfolk State up at the Joan this afternoon. Major League Baseball scores, and, of course, the Border Sporting Goods rant of the week a little bit later on. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll check in with Raceland head coach Mike Sammons. We'll talk some football and what's in store for the Rams in their first road trip. That's as we continue here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Clark's Pump and Shop now has Arco, a new brand of gasoline. Look for Arco gasoline and our brand new state-of-the-art pumps at several of our tri-state locations. Clark's Pump and Shop still offers the same clean stores and the same fast, friendly service you've always received. You may have noticed a new facelift at some of Clark's Pump and Shop locations, and we invite you to stop in and see for yourself. To learn more, visit us online at myclarkspns.com. Clark's Pump and Shop, where you can return, refresh, and refuel.
I'm April Perry, the CEO of Kentucky Farmers Bank. On average, our employees have been with Kentucky Farmers Bank for over 10 years, and that is important to you and us. We want you to know who you are dealing with. Whether you are financing a new home, buying a car, or remodeling your kitchen, Kentucky Farmers Bank is the better bank for all your needs.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for all your financial needs since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Be prepared for all of those outdoor jobs this summer by stopping by Wagner Rental and Supply for everything you need for jobs of all sizes, including a full line of Echo lawn and garden tools, trimmers, brush cutters, power blowers, head clippers, and chainsaws. Check out their landscaping equipment such as 4x4 tractors with loaders, mini excavators, post hole diggers, trenchers, wood chippers, tillers, and more. Find the equipment, tools, and supplies you need for your next project.
Your tri-state rental supermarket, Wagner Rental and Supply.
New Boston, Jackson, Chillicothe, and Ashland, or online, WagnerRental.com.
Cool hits, the greatest songs of all time. 105.7.
Back on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. James Collier in studio. Joining me now from Raceland football, head coach for the Rams, Mike Sammons in. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, James. Doing well this morning.
An ugly win, if you want to say it that way. Not a clean first half as well, but most important, it's a win. And I know, as any coach would say, they'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I told the guys after the game, winning football games is hard, and you just don't show up, and things happen on their own. You have to prepare, and a lot of things go into it. So, we made some plays last night. Maybe we weren't as sharp as we were the week before, and maybe that goes back to some of our preparation. But again, we're going to learn from it and move forward. And again, there's no apologies when you move forward. You're victorious. You try to get better and learn from it. There's, like you said, there's no such thing as an ugly one. Better than on the other side of the scoreboard. And so, they gave us some new challenges last night, things we got to get better at. And so it's still week 3. Learn from it and move forward.
I think one of the things that you and I talked about on Thursday as we were preparing for the game, you talked about you were concerned about what they could do on that front four, and more importantly, the way they were walking their linebackers up. A lot of times they were bringing 6-7 guys on about every snap.
Yeah, they were really aggressive in the box. They kind of gave us a different front look to maybe what we had seen the last few weeks with what we call an even front look, where they essentially have 4 guys down with their hand in the ground. And they got one guy there. I read this morning in the paper, I think, number 53, he's a very good high school football player. I think maybe getting recruited. I'm really not sure what level, but again, nonetheless, a very good high school football player. Hit a guy on the interior last night that gave us some trouble. Number 77 played real well, real physical, and their front had been really good all year. In the last few, early season, but the first couple weeks. So, just some things for us that we really got to work on there. We thought we should maybe take advantage of the passing game with some of their man-to-man concepts, and we were just a little bit off there. A couple times, throws were off, timing was off. And some of that was due to their rush just not letting us get comfortable. And so, again, all things we can learn from and move forward. Things that are correctable is the most, is the thing that makes you feel the best about it. And so we'll get back to work. We'll rest up this weekend and go right back at it.
I think it was one of the things that in the game, that's the first time this season that Logan has seen that much pressure to where the pocket collapses around him. A lot of times he's had plenty of time to kind of just sit and pick his poison. They got to him early in the game, and a lot of times with a quarterback, when they get hit or they get people around their legs, it speeds that clock up a little bit faster.
Yeah, 100%. You can see that on film. It's you got a nice, clean pocket, you sit back there and pat the ball and wait till somebody gets open, throw it to them, and celebrate. And that wasn't the case last night. We were under duress most of the night, particularly early. And I think even we talk about that a lot in our defense approach too. Hey, if we can get some hits early, maybe we don't get sacks. Last night we gave up a few sacks early, but if you can just get hits on the guy, that has a mental impact. So that's what happened last night. I think we had a couple sacks early in the game, and that's in the back of his mind. Guys, laying around his legs and not really able to get his lower half into his throws. And one throw that we felt like we had a chance to really do some damage on was a little bit underthrown. And you go back, look on film, he just has guys around his legs. He really can't get into the throw. And so those are all things we'll work to correct. Guys that I think when they see it on film, they'll say, okay, wait a minute, this is what coach was talking about on this drill or in this technique or this practice that I got to get better at. And we'll go back to the practice field, and that's where all the corrections are made.
Take nothing away from Round County, but this was a natural setup for a trap game for Rayson. Coming off an emotional win over Russell in a rivalry game, a big game with Highlands on the road next week. Rowan County is a team that Rayson has never lost to in 7 trips. This was one of those games that it tried to show its ugly face, but you guys found a way, and the way you found it was with the defense.
Yeah, our defense has been phenomenal the first 3 weeks, and even in the preseason was really good. Really good last night. I think we created, if I'm not mistaken, 4, maybe even 5 turnovers. Maybe 4 picks and a fumble or something like that. I'd have to go back and triple check that. I don't know how many times they punted, a handful of times too. So just really, really dominant. Again, we're giving up like somewhere around 100 and some change yards of total offense. That's just unheard of. And so if you're able to do that, you're going to have a really good chance to succeed. As far as being a trap game and things like that, maybe the setup was what it was, but you only get a chance, and our guys have got to really, try to move forward from this, but you only play once every 7 days. This time it was 6 days, and so there's no opportunities to move back. You got to keep moving forward. We have 3 more opportunities, and then we have a bye week before we go into district play, and so we have to continue to move forward to get ready for that. We know there's an RPI factor in there, but the rule hasn't changed. The first 2 rounds of the playoffs are dictated on your 3 district games. The rest of it is dictated on RPI, but the rest of it's somewhat irrelevant unless you get to that point. So those 3 games, you have to be your best in October, and then you, of course, transfer that into November. So that's kind of what we're working towards. That's our goal every year, and we're going to stay right on the process of being the best we can be and trying to get better every single day. And as we always say, we're going to keep pounding, keep swinging that axe.
One of the things defensively you guys did so well last night, 4 interceptions, one of those for a score, a 20-yard pick 6 from Noah Wallace. But Jules Farrell, even after you and I talked in postgame last night, I went back home and pulled the stats up. He had 3 interceptions, and it was spread out throughout the game, so you really didn't remember all of them. But Jules Farrell, he was a guy that really locked things down on that second level last night.
Yeah, and he has for several weeks now. And, again, last year kind of in the backup role as a corner, but maybe a primary ball carrier. This year, almost kind of flipped the switch. We try to build defense out, and he's a primary defensive cornerback for us. He is on a rotation over there to try to keep guys fresh, but that's a big challenge. And so he's playing more snaps than he's played on that side of the ball. Jules has been really, really happy for Jules to have that success. He's really worked hard. He's a very, very likable kid. Doesn't say a ton, but he's extremely charismatic. He's always got a big smile on his face, and again, easy kid to root for, and I'm glad to see him have a big night and really finish it off there kind of with that 50-yard scamper there, kind of put the dagger in late.
Funny story on Jules. Earlier in the week at school, Jackson Hyden came to me. He said, "Hey, Coach, can I grab some note cards?" And I said, "Sure, man." So I handed him a stack of note cards, and he goes, "Well, they're actually for Jules." And I said, "You mean he won't come over?" He said, "No, he's afraid of you." And it's funny. You see a kid that plays with the intensity that he does, but like you said, a very soft-spoken kid, but a great kid with inside the building.
Yeah, he is. He's a good leader in our building. Just really, I keep talking about him being so charismatic. He's just got the charm. And there's some kids, handle their business differently. And Jules has just kind of always been like that, kind of like a happy-go-lucky type kid. And he's practiced really hard, and I think he's worked in the weight room more than he's worked in the past, and it's given him a kind of a newfound confidence, and it's always enjoyable and hopefully young kids see that when it transfers from the weight room over to the film room or the preparation and then onto competition. That's what makes it fun when you see that process work, and no better time than his senior year.
Having the ability to run the football like he does, I've really noticed it a lot this year. More north and south, less east and west. But when he hits the hole, he's hitting the hole with conviction.
Yeah, Jules got some extremely gifted talents that you don't coach, as far as being able to move in the hole and his wiggle. And I think last week he had a spin move on some defensive guys, and just things that honestly you don't coach that stuff. You just go get him the ball and let him be, and he gets in space and he does what he does. He's a tremendous ball catcher. We really haven't used him in that role a ton as of now, but something he does really well. Runs good routes, could play receiver for us for that matter. But again, I think you see a little bit more confidence in his body. That way when he hits the hole, he has a little bit more confidence to be able to run through arm tackles and be able to finish runs for those extra yards. And so he's done that for us. I think finally last night might have been our leading rusher, just under 100 yards. But I don't know how many touches he had. Less than 8. Yeah, I mean less than our guys have had low touches to the first 3 weeks of the season. So we just kind of share the wealth. Next man up. Again, one time I know we talked about it was Isaac, and then maybe last week it was Logan, and last night Jules was kind of the hot hand, had a big run, and so that's kind of the beauty of who we are. We got some depth there, guys that are really unselfish and kind of root and pull for each other, and so whoever happens to be that night, we'll just enjoy it for them, and then we'll keep moving forward, chasing our ultimate goal.
Yeah, Noah was a guy that really kind of led you in the first half of play, and you've seen the same thing from him. He seems to have the game playing at a slower pace than what it did last year. He's seeing the holes. He's really using the sides of the fields to get that stretch, and when he finds that seam, he's hitting it. Yeah, again, Noah has been really tremendous for us early on. Defensively, just so locked in, so comfortable. He has that defensive experience, just such a feel, instincts of where they're trying to take the ball, but also where he needs to be successful. Just like last night, he had the defensive score just on the tip ball. Just knows where to be and how to be there and being on time. Offensively, he really hasn't got wide open yet. But I thought last night he had a really good first half, had some good runs, and even in the second half, I think he had a nice explosive play. 25, 30 plus yards. I think it was actually called back by penalty. But again, just a kid who's gotten probably in the best shape he's been in his 3 years of high school football is now, and the game has really slowed down for him, particularly on both sides of the ball. But on defense, it's just such a comfort zone back there with us, knowing where he's at and where to be, and so really proud of him. Him and Jules, kind of that 1-2 punch. Of course, with Isaac and Jackson back there, kind of sharing carries as well. Of course, we'll be down 1 this week, but be more reps for the other 3 to kind of step up there and see who wants to step up. And but Noah's running the ball real well. There's going to be some time that we're going to have to ride him a little bit more than what we've had to ride him so far. But that time hasn't come yet, and we're just going to try to stay fresh and keep trying to share the load and keep trying to serve the team. You talk about the 1-2 punch that you get from Noah and Jules. You also get that on the defensive side of the ball as well. And when you have guys like that, and then you add in Landon Newman, Connor Hughes in that second level. Brody Austin was in there for a nice play last night. How much does that allow those 7 guys in front of them to just kind of hawk to the football? Yeah, I mean, I think defense, we had 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 picks last night, and the week before had 2 turnovers. Newman had 2 turnovers, recovered turnovers, a pick and a fumble. Our guys in the back end have just been really experienced, really comfortable, and our guys on the front last night just kind of pinned their ears back, went after the quarterback. I had multiple sacks. I don't have the official number yet. Multiple sacks. I know we held them to like 50-some yards rushing. Guys just really being tenacious in their pass rush, knowing the sooner they can get there, the better chance we got to either A, get the quarterback on the ground, or B, get some type of forced throw. And if we get some type of forced throw, there's a pretty good chance our guys going to be in position to either A, break it up, or B, change the possession of the ball. So been really good. I thought our linebackers were really active last night. As well as our front 3 guys, just really getting after him. He was. I think the quarterback was like 13-20, if the stats you showed me, but it was like for 70 yards. That just really shows you the tenacity. No time to get any type of vertical game going,
those guys in the box last night really were relentless in their pressure.
Something that really opened up that front three, which is a lot of times you're always talking about the other way, but the pressure that the linebackers were bringing, a lot of blitzes right up the middle from those two middle spots from Braden and Jackson. But Elias has been big for you this season on the end, but last night it was Christian and Ben Taylor on the outside that got to the quarterback a couple times.
Yeah, I think Christian had the first lick of the night on the guy from the noseman position. Elias a little banged up last night. Had to play another guy in his spot there. Lyndon got a couple good licks on the quarterback too, and then Coach Lewis was trying to work some run blitzes mixed in with some pass blitzes, trying to get some pressure on the guy. And Braden and Jackson, along with Xander Jenkins in there, good high school athletes. Jackson's an athletic freak. Just runs to the ball, runs horizontally extremely well. Braden's a little bit more of a downhill type, more physically gifted type. Imposes his will on guys, just being so big and strong. And those guys really got after the passer last night. I think at some point during the night, all 7 of those front guys got a lick on him. And so it makes it good. It makes it really comfortable for guys behind, know that, your guys are really going to come after the guy. And when you kind of take away teams' run game, they got to play so to speak, with one hand behind their back. That's a real advantage for the defense.
Another guy in that linebacking core that has really stepped forward this season, didn't play a ton last year, playing in behind a role, but Campbell, a guy playing on that outside position, a couple of sacks already this year and a couple tackles for loss. But he's a kid that even at the scrimmage with Wheelersburg, the pick 6, and he just seems like he knows where to be at the right time.
Yeah, real happy for Cam. First of all, extremely high character kid, extremely intelligent, knows what we're trying to do when we're trying to do it. Just battled some terrible injuries over the first 2 and even in this year, 2.5, start his junior year seasons. Just had some pulled hamstring issues, just some things where he just couldn't get healthy. And you also felt like at some time, and we still do feel like it, sometimes he could help us on offense. Again, just trying to stay healthy and get healthy and be healthy in his body and be confident. And so I think he's gotten better and more confident as his body health has gotten better. He has confidence in his body to stay healthy, and he goes out there and plays full speed. Cam's a kid who's long and rangy, extremely athletic, runs really well, runs as well as anybody we got. So it's not kind of there on the edge. That's kind of our strength with those guys is our team speed. And so been good to see him kind of get healthy. In the preseason, he had a little bit of setback, and I think every week you kind of see him growing. He missed some preseason reps that, kind of maybe sped the game up for him a little bit early, and as times went on, he's got more comfortable. And I think you see that with all of our guys. You kind of got to get field time, and just like anything else you do, you got to have that experience. Some of our guys are getting field time. A lot of our guys have had field time, but maybe at different type of positions, like Jackson, for example. Doesn't seem like a monumental change from inside to outside linebacker, but the angles and the pace at which things happen are different, and so our guys are getting more field time, and we've had a really 5-week run here of different styles of attacking, and been on the road a couple of times, and even been on the road for a home game, and got to play at home. So it'll be good for us to take our show on the road this week and really get a new challenge.
Having that on that first week, a road game, I mean, yeah, you were the home team, but you were at Wheelersburg. Did that kind of give you almost like a dress rehearsal of what to expect when you take the team to Northern Kentucky this week?
Yeah, a little bit. The one thing that's a little bit different is, we had got dressed at our place and kind of went there. This week, we'll travel in street clothes and have to do all of our pregame preparation there and get dressed there. Not that that's a huge change, but again, something different when you're traveling, I don't know, probably 125, 130 miles one way. So it'll be good. We got an experienced football team, not really worried about us traveling the right way. Again, I think it's a kind of a barometer for us, see how far we've come, see if we can grow from this week, and see if we can rectify some of the mistakes we made last week on the practice field to move forward.
Did you like the response that you saw from your team in the second half after the sluggish first half of play?
It's funny you say that. We always talk about the first 5 minutes of the third quarter being such a momentum change in a football game, whether A, you come out and kind of exert yourself and set the tone for the last 24. We were up 2 scores at the time. Or B, whether you kind of get on your heels, something bad may happen, and then the next 24 minutes is a mad scramble. And you don't know, when you put it up for chance, anything can happen. I think everybody, if you've been around sports enough, you've been on both sides of it to know that. And so we got the ball to start second half last night, went right down and scored, I think, and kind of gave us that little breathing room, make it 21-3. And I think that was kind of what we were looking for. And I think we may have followed that up with another score before the end of the quarter, I'm not 100% sure. And then at that point, our defense was playing so good, and we knew it was going to take something catastrophic for them to score that many points. And so from there, you kind of get a little bit more comfort level about you. But I think our team came out of the locker room really the last 2 weeks and kind of exerted itself and really took control early on in the third quarter, and then from there, able to finish the game off.
You went to Connor there at the quarterback position in the Wild Ram, as I like to call it, to start the second half. Did you see his being in that position? Did that change things up and open things up for Logan a little bit more?
Just a change of pace. Connor, I think we had a couple plays to start the half with Logan, then we went to Connor, and then we went back to Logan. Connor's such a dynamic player and can touch the ball from so many positions on the field. Just a real weapon, running back, quarterback, long snapper, punt returner, kick returner, corner safety, receiver. He plays so many different positions for us. And just a little change of pace there. He's a little different than maybe Logan is. And I think he had a couple runs, maybe even handed the ball off once, and I think he actually attempted a pass. The thing of Connor's is a little different. I mean, he was our full-time quarterback at one time a couple of years ago for multiple games for about a month or more. So he knows our offense inside and out. And that's one thing we really try to do. We try to identify young kids who are athletes, like maybe freshman year or so, and actually play them at quarterback, even if that's not their natural position, just so they can learn the offense. And I think that's what you see from him. He played quarterback at a young age, and he's able to know what everybody needs to be and where to go. And we're able to keep Logan on the field, so it really puts stresses on defense to know where guys are. And we're able to get I think we picked up a first down there with Logan, then we jumped in the Wild Ram, as you call it, there a couple of times, and got some momentum, got in the orange zone, was able to throw a touchdown pass, and just change of pace. I guess you're a baseball guy, change your pitches, so to speak, and so for us, it gave us a little momentum.
Regional head coach Mike Sam is joining us here this morning. Coach, a nice win last night. Appreciate you coming in. We'll see you Friday night. We head up to Northern Kentucky.
Thanks, James. Really appreciate it.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Luke Creasy as we'll talk some Marshall football. That's as we continue here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Hello, I'm Michael Bowling, Senior Vice President of Kentucky Farmers Bank. When you do business with Kentucky Farmers Bank, you're making an investment in your community. Your money stays local, we never sell your loan, and in turn, we invest in local families, churches, schools, and charities. We believe in our community, and that's why we are the better bank for loans.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for loans since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Be prepared for all of those outdoor jobs this summer by stopping by Wagner Rental and Supply for everything you need for jobs of all sizes, including a full line of Echo lawn and garden tools, trimmers, brush cutters, power blowers, head clippers, and chainsaws. Check out their landscaping equipment such as 4x4 tractors with loaders, mini excavators, post hole diggers, trenchers, wood chippers, tillers, and more. Find the equipment, tools, and supplies you need for your next project.
Your Tri-State Rental Supermarket, Wagner Rental and Supply.
New Boston, Jackson, Chillicothe, and Ashland, or online, WagnerRental.com.
The weather is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. For low prices on snacks, soft drinks, and quality Marathon gasoline, visit the Clark's Pump and Shop nearest you. Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Return, refresh, refuel.
Cool Hits weather.
We'll see variable clouds today with scattered thunderstorms, a high of 83, 70% chance of scattered thunderstorms Saturday night, low of 68. We'll start out the day on Sunday with thunderstorms with a chance of scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. High should be of 78.
Cool Hits 105.7.
That was pretty good. I wish you could say that you did it on purpose. Here come the men in black, talking about some Raceland Rams. He doesn't even have a clue who that was. He had no idea whatsoever. A big thanks to Mike Sabbins for joining me here this morning in studio, as well as on the live stream for Cool TV. One of the things I will say with my show is, rather than electing to throw up the video commercials and stuff during the break, I just leave the camera open so you can actually see in the studio. So you see me dancing all over the place. And, of course, the sign over my shoulder here, say Ferris. So someone had taped it up there. My wife actually said, what does that sign say behind you? So I flipped it around. So you actually watched me flip it around. I'm a big Ferris guy, so I love Ferris Bueller. But if you're watching, have a question for the show, you can hit me in the chat on YouTube. You can also hit me on Twitter at CollierSZ Live. And I'll give you a response as we go forward. Scoreboard ticker down below, rolling through from all the games from last night. And let's talk some more football. And let's go to the phone lines. Joining me there from the Huntington Herald-Dispatch, Luke Creasy's in. My friend, what is up? Good morning.
Good morning, James. And I'm kind of jealous that I don't get to see the dancing James Collier during the commercial break.
Well, the good thing is you can go back and watch it on replay. So, you can always go back and watch the replay of it and see the dancing. I may have to add in a few dance moves, and let's see. I don't dance, so that may not be good.
Big opportunity for Marshall today, starting the season off in the Sun Belt Conference, and a lot of excitement certainly around the team this off season and leading into this one.
How big has it been? And like you said, the switch from Conference USA into the Sun Belt, and maybe 5 years ago, people were like, "What are you doing? This is an absurd move." But this move makes sense, and it puts Marshall in a very good football conference that has been kind of punctuated by Appy State, Coastal Carolina, just to name a pair.
Yeah, I think when you look at just the makeup of it, it presents a lot of opportunity for regional rivalries, and not only the Marshall App State, but Old Dominion right in the mix now too. James Madison, a lot of good teams, in that Eastern Conference, but also when you look at the West, teams like Louisiana get games back with an old rival like Southern Miss. They're not separated by too far, and I think that's the biggest draw for the Sun Belt Conference. And, the biggest comparison I've seen with Sun Belt expansion versus other conferences. It's just, people like to go to games where they know the opponent. Take the Backyard Brawl, for instance. There's a lot of hype and talk surrounding that game, set a record for a Pittsburgh sporting event because those two teams don't like each other. They're traditional rivals, and they hadn't seen each other for 11 years. And so I think you're going to get that kind of feel in a lot of these conference games when you get into the Sun Belt portion of the season. Teams that are going to know each other year in and year out, especially if you're a division opponent. It's going to create a chance for some really fun environments, and I think you've started to see that effect already. James Madison set a record for season ticket sales this year. They're expecting a sellout today when they host Middle Tennessee. Appalachian State set a record for season ticket sales. Old Dominion sold out last night against Virginia Tech. A lot of talk about the atmospheres that will create, and I think you're already starting to see that.
One of the things you look at with Marshall and what it had in Conference USA, again, never a true dominant factor through Conference USA like a lot of people wanted Marshall to be. But there were certainly those heated rivalries, and none bigger than that with Western Kentucky. Now separated from the conferences, does it become an easy connection with the success that Coastal Carolina's had, the success that Appy State had, the success that Louisiana has had, for Marshall to find its way into a rivalry with one of those three?
Oh, yeah. I think the easy target is going to be Appalachian State just because of the history between those two teams already. Obviously, they were familiar with each other from the days in the Southern Conference, and that creates some opportunity there. But, I think, you hit those three on the head. App State, Coastal, and Louisiana. And the good thing for Marshall fans, all three of those games are home this year. I don't quite know how they pulled that off in their first year in the Sun Belt. But lots of potential there, and Louisiana kind of a fun lead into Sun Belt play because that's who Marshall saw in the bowl game last year. It's kind of a de facto Sun Belt preview, and they'll come in on a Wednesday night game. It's going to be Marshall's conference home opener, so I think a chance right off the bat to get some intense games going, and certainly Marshall's going to have a chip on their shoulder after losses to App State and Louisiana last year. So I think you're already starting to see those rivalries form.
One of the things you just brought up a great point there, and when you talk about a Wednesday night game, we're going way back into the days, some action. It's always not going to be on Saturdays. You're going to see some midweek games because that's where the Sun Belt, the MAC, conferences like that fall. Marshall's going to fall into some of those ball games as they run through the season.
Yeah, and they ran into one last year with that being a home game for Appalachian State. That game happened on a Thursday night. And I think they still sold out Kid Brewer Stadium. So it's different. I think, people aren't necessarily going to be used to that right off the bat. You maybe have to get back into a rhythm of it. But, I still think, beyond just playing the game on the field, that creates some opportunity for national exposure as well. I mean, those midweek games are going to be on ESPN. A lot of times it's going to be the only college football game being played at the time. So, a chance for Marshall to get some national exposure, and certainly the media rights deal that the Sun Belt has with ESPN and the ESPN family of networks is certainly a little bit more beneficial than say maybe a game appearing on Facebook Live or Stadium Sports. So that's another draw of coming to the Sun Belt. And if Marshall fans can't get to the game, it's a little easier to find them online.
How has the fan base adjusted to the change? And sometimes I was a big critic of Marshall's fan base. Sometimes I think they get it, their ambitions are a little bigger than their eyeballs can handle, but not making that step forward into maybe the American Athletic Conference where I think a lot of people wanted to see them go. But do the fan base look at this as a downgrade from Conference USA, or was the writing on the wall that Conference USA was getting ready to implode and it was time for a perfect move?
I think the time was perfect for a move, and I think that a lot of people are recognizing that even a move to the American Athletic Conference might not be as strong as the move to the Sun Belt this year, because look at the makeup of some of these teams. I mean, there are probably 3 or 4 teams that could find themselves in the conversation for top 25 in the Sun Belt. So I think. Not only from the players and coaches' perspective of seeing raised competition when you go to the Sun Belt, but I think the fans are starting to see that too. And a big, a lot of people have been hard on Marshall fans in the past for not showing up to games or having these high, lofty expectations. But a big gripe, if you will, of the fan base has been, we're not playing good teams at home, and so, for Marshall to jump into the Sun Belt and have some of these high caliber games, and you look at some of the future non-conference opponents, Army on the schedule. They had a return game with Navy that, kind of goes by the wayside after Navy jumps out of that contract. But Marshall, I think, by associating themselves with the Sun Belt, have a higher draw to some of these other teams that maybe a Power 5 team looking for a home and home series with someone. Take Appalachian State for instance. They have a series. They have a home game today with North Carolina, scheduled a future home and home with NC State. And so I think when you buy into that conference and it's better as a whole from top to bottom. I don't think there's as wide of a talent gap as there was in Conference USA. Even though Marshall didn't go in and dominate that conference every year, had the one conference championship in 2014. But, I think from top to bottom, there's a lot of talent across the conference. And I think that just about everybody involved can see that and expects Marshall to at least be competitive this year. I've seen predictions, as high as 11-1, 10-2. I don't think that's necessarily a realistic expectation. I think that because the Sun Belt is a little bit tougher of a conference, Marshall's going to have a little bit of a learning curve going into it. I have them at 8-4 on the year, and I think that's a floor for the expectation for the Herd this year.
Going into the season with the loss of the running back of Rashid Ali, one of the best running backs in the nation, how much does that force Marshall to have to make adjustments well sooner than it wanted to with the way that it attacks with the offense, also starting with a new quarterback?
Yeah, I think that threw a wrench into a lot of what the team expected to start the year with. Obviously, Rashid Ali was just out on every watch list that one could have imagined to enter this season. But it's created a chance over the last couple weeks, because even before the news came out, that I think there was this understanding between the coaches and the players that maybe he would be missing some time, even though that wasn't made public to the media or the fans yet. I think there was that expectation, and you started to see some of those other guys work in. Guys like Kalen LeBourne, a transfer from Florida State, who has played in big-time games, has former 5-star recruit, comes to Huntington as a grad transfer. He's going to see some time on the field today. But a guy I've been really impressed with this offseason is Ethan Payne, a kid from Poco, West Virginia, who had a very storied high school career and appeared in 11 games for Marshall last year, but only carried the ball 20 times. But he has made a lot of progress this offseason and, has really caught the eye of the coaching staff. And, even before Rashid Ali, it was announced that he was going to miss time, Huff was already kind of talking about maybe do we have a 3-back rotation or do we have to stick with a 2, because Ethan Payne has made some good moves. So I think that helps as well. And they've gotten a chance to work with each other. LeBourne, Payne have each split time with the ones in practice the past couple of weeks. So, I think that helps having that news come out when it did, so that way they can make some adjustments and not have to go into a game week, trying to refigure the plan entirely.
In a game that Marshall is so heavily favored with the Norfolk State team coming in, how important is it that they have that opportunity for 4 full quarters to kind of iron out the wrinkles, figure out the timing, get on the same page in actual gameplay before they take off to Notre Dame up in South Bend next week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a big opportunity for Marshall, and I think that while no player or coach is going to go ahead and talk about Notre Dame, I think it probably rests a little bit in the back of their heads, because it is such a marquee matchup and probably one of the biggest games of Marshall's FBS era. When you look at the quality of opponent that they have coming up next week in the Irish, but I think it's an opportunity for Marshall to establish this identity that they've been talking about in the off season. Huff is big on creating that identity. He talked about it going into fall camp and talked about it again earlier this week in his press conference. He said, this is a chance for us to go out there and really establish ourselves as the team we want to be. And so I think this game is going to be big in that respect. And it's kind of funny because, Huff talked about some of his old rivalry days with Norfolk State. He was a player at Hampton from 2002 to 2005, and he never lost against Norfolk State. Those games weren't particularly close either. And so, he knows that, that Norfolk State has the ability to put a good team out there, and they've got some players on that side of the ball. Look at one, J.J. Davis, the running back, is the MEAC Conference preseason player of the year. I was a rookie of the year last year, had over 800 yards and 10 touchdowns. So, a guy like that has the potential to make some plays, but Marshall just really focused on themselves. And I think that's important, because if you can go out there and execute your own game plan, no matter the opponent, I like to use the reference of no matter what stickers on their helmet, if you do what you can do best, you got your best chance at winning the ball game. So I think that's going to be and an important focus for the Herd going into today.
For Marshall fans that want to follow along in the Twitterverse, how can they find you as you cover the game and the games throughout this season?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is just at Luke Creasy. It's LUKECREASY, and I'll have plenty of Marshall football coverage. And you can also follow at HD Media Sports, and that will give you maybe a wider scope of not only Marshall football but high school football and things like that as well. So lots coming up. Exciting fall season, not only in regards to football, but how about the soccer team with a big win last night too over number 2 Pitt.
Yeah, that was huge. Obviously, the soccer team, after winning the national championship, things have really kind of built upon that foundation. And if you like true football, up in Huntington, they've got a pretty good product on the field.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the national championship, and real quick before I get off here, that was branded by the Marshall coaching staff as the national championship never was last night, because Pitt was right there in that semifinal in 2020, lost to Indiana. Indiana obviously advanced to the national championship, but Marshall was preparing as if Pitt was going to advance in that game because they thought they were the better of the two. So Chris Grassie and the Herd finally got their shot last night and made the most of it.
From the Huntington Herald-Dispatch, Luke Creasy in talking some Marshall football. Luke, first off, congratulations on the getting the Marshall football beat, and best of luck to you as you cover throughout the season, and I greatly appreciate you joining me this morning.
Appreciate it. It feels like just yesterday that we were prepping for games together. But best of luck to you too as you continue the radio show, and we'll see what happens.
I greatly appreciate it.
All right.
Luke and I, we went to college together up at Marshall, and we've called several games together. And Luke was a great addition to the WMUL family, and really excited to see what he does on this side of his career. But he's had some great people to follow in the footsteps with Grant Traylor and Tim Stevens at the Herald-Dispatch there. Dave Walsh was around as well. But Luke's a good guy, and he's a great follow if you're a Marshall football fan. He'll keep you up to date with all the stuff that's coming up. All right, let's check in on Major League Baseball scores on the other side of the break. Can the Yankees implode? They're pretty doggone close. And we'll talk about that when we continue after this on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Quality Marathon gasoline, great monthly specials on snacks and beverages, and fantastic service. Those are the qualities of Clark's Pump and Shops. You'll find a Clark's Pump and Shop near you in the Bluegrass State and beyond. And Rick and Brent Clark want you to know that they take pride in giving you the best prices and service, and they thank you for your patronage. Clark's Pump and Shops are a division of the John W. Clark Oil Company. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hello, I'm Michael Bowling, Senior Vice President of Kentucky Farmers Bank. When you do business with Kentucky Farmers Bank, you're making an investment in your community. Your money stays local, we never sell your loan, and in turn, we invest in local families, churches, schools, and charities. We believe in our community, and that's why we are the better bank for loans.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for loans since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Be prepared for all of those outdoor jobs this summer by stopping by Wagner Rental and Supply for everything you need for jobs of all sizes, including a full line of Echo lawn and garden tools, trimmers, brush cutters, power blowers, head clippers, and chainsaws. Check out their landscaping equipment such as 4x4 tractors with loaders, mini excavators, excavators, post hole diggers, trenchers, wood chippers, tillers, and more. Find the equipment, tools, and supplies you need for your next project.
Your Tri-State Rental Supermarket, Wagner Rental and Supply.
New Boston, Jackson, Chillicothe, and Ashland, or online, WagnerRental.com.
The Tri-State's Cool Hits, 105.7.
All right, now you messed up, Dwayne. You just played that song. Yes. Yeah, that sounds like the same song coming back in. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It kind of sounds the same. And now Dwayne just lost his glasses. I'm going to put a camera on him, man. We've got some comedy going on over here. Hey, a big thanks to Luke Creasy from the Huntington Herald-Dispatch on the other side of the break, joining me, talk some Marshall football. Heard in action up at the Joan this afternoon, 3:30 kickoff. Season tickets are certainly still available. Tickets, walk-up tickets. It was looking like there were some sections of the stadium that had been sold out, but plenty of tickets still available if you want to make the trip up and catch some college football as we get true college football back in action this weekend. All right, let's change over to the Diamond and some Major League Baseball scores last night. Blue Jays blanked the Pirates 4-0. It was the Reds over the Rockies 3-2. Orioles knock off the Athletics 5-2. It was the Tigers one better than the Royals 5-4. Mets stay on their hot streak. They defeat the Nationals 7-3. It was the Mariners over the Guardians. I hate the Guardians. I should have named them like the Spiders or something like that. The Guardians. That's like the Washington football team. Give me a break. 6-1, Mariners win that one. Red Sox over the Rangers 9-1. The Rays blanked the Yankees 9-0 down in Tropicana. Keep an eye on the Rays. The Braves over the Marlins 8-1. It was the White Sox, one better than the Twins 4-3. Cardinals blanked the Cubs 8-0. It was the Astros doubling up the Angels 4-2. D-backs one better than the Brewers 2-1. It was the Padres over the Dodgers 7-1. And the Giants hammered the Phillies 13-1. All right, let's check the standings from around Major League Baseball. We'll start first in the American League East. The Yankees clinging to a 5-game lead now on Tampa. Toronto 7 out, Baltimore 8.5 back. The Yankees had a double-digit lead on every team in the American League East going into the All-Star break. And they have been nothing less than bad since the second half of the season started. Tampa has always been a team, though, that in September they find a way to make a run. Are they going to do it again with a bunch of guys who are – it's like they have a bunch of names that you don't know, but somehow they find themselves in the mix once again. And here they are yet again. So the Rays trying to make a run at the Yankees. Man, you talk about a colossal collapse. If the Yankees don't win the American League East after the way they did everything at the beginning of the season – me being a Red Sox guy, my Red Sox, you can see they're clearly out of the picture. I would love nothing more than watch the burning tower in New York just go to the ground of the Bronx Bombers. In the Central, Cleveland leads Minnesota by a game. The White Sox are 3 back at 500. They are at 66 and 66. Other two teams are out of the picture. Out west, Houston 85 and 47, best record in the American League. They've got an 11-game lead over Seattle, who has won 5 straight. To the National League we go, and to the National League East, the red-hot Mets trying to hold off Atlanta as the Mets 85 and 48. They've got a 3-game lead over the Braves. The Phillies are 11.5 out, but they're still well in the wild card conversation. You're going to get 3 teams out of the American League or the National League East without a conversation, without a doubt. The Central's a little different story. The Cardinals 7.5 in front of Milwaukee, and it's going to be one of the two that's going to get in. And right now it looks like the Cardinals are certainly starting to pull away. A nice win last night over the Cubbies, 8-0. But this was a division that it looked like Milwaukee was probably in control of most of the first half of the season, and then the Cardinals really found some offense, some better pitching. This could be maybe the final swan song for Yadi Molina and Albert Pujols. Could they make a run into the postseason and maybe even represent the National League in the World Series? Nah, let's not get that crazy. Over in the West, the Dodgers were the best record in baseball, 90 and 41. But they've lost 3 straight. San Diego, 17 games off the pace. 17 games behind them, and it's just now September. That's insane. Dodgers are pretty doggone good. So that's where we are with that. Let's check now the wild card standings. So first off, in the American League, Houston is the 1, Yankees the 2, Cleveland is the 3. And then the 3 teams that are currently inside the American League wild card race, Tampa, Seattle, and Toronto. Baltimore's a game and a half out. Minnesota's 4 off. The White Sox 6 off on live support. Boston, they're hitting them with the charging paddles right now. They're 7.5 out of the last place position for the wild card. Sorry, Red Sox fans. We're not going to make the postseason. And, you know, I will say this. That's almost alleviating to know because they suck. They are awful. They need to fire the front office. And they've been basically playing with a minor league pitching rotation because of the fact of pitching has been just struggling all season long with injuries and so forth. But make no excuses with it. Red Sox are terrible this year. Over to the National League, the Dodgers with the best record in baseball. They lead the Mets by 5 games. The Mets are your 2. The Cardinals would be the 3. And then in the wild card, Atlanta, San Diego, Philadelphia. That's your 4, 5, and 6. Milwaukee's 3.5 off the pace. Arizona and San Francisco, they would love to get in the conversation. But I would say next week, if everything plays out like it is, you're going to see a 4-team race for 3 positions as Arizona 9.5 off. San Francisco is 10 out. The Reds, who? Do they have a team? No, seriously, though. The Cincinnati Reds, again, as much grief as I gave the Reds throughout the season, Cincinnati right now is at 52-78, 24 games out of first place, but they're 3.5 games in front of Pittsburgh, who's in the cellar. But again, to put in perspective how good the Dodgers are, the Reds have lost 78 games. The Dodgers have won 90, okay? But I don't know. The Reds still a bad baseball team, but, man, what they've been able to do from the way they started off 3-22, I think it's a pretty remarkable turnaround. And, again, you've got to give credit to David Bell for what he's been able to pull off. If you're a Reds fan, you're frustrated because of the way that things have gone down there, but still a heck of a turnaround by the Cincinnati Reds. I didn't think they would win 40 games all year. And here they are at 52 with a month of the season left to go. So we'll see. All right, let's take a break. When we return, it's the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. I made a trip to Walmart, and you know what's coming. That's when we continue here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Hello, I'm Michael Bowling, Senior Vice President of Kentucky Farmers Bank. When you do business with Kentucky Farmers Bank, you're making an investment in your community. Your money stays local, we never sell your loan, and in turn, we invest in local families, churches, schools, and charities. We believe in our community, and that's why we are the better bank for loans.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for loans since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Be prepared for all of those outdoor jobs this summer by stopping by Wagner Rental and Supply for everything you need for jobs of all sizes, including a full line of Echo lawn and garden tools, trimmers, brush cutters, power blowers, head clippers, and chainsaws. Check out their landscaping equipment such as 4x4 tractors with loaders, mini excavators, post hole diggers, trenchers, wood chippers, tillers, and more. Find the equipment, tools, and supplies you need for your next project.
Your Tri-State Rental Supermarket, Wagner Rental and Supply.
New Boston, Jackson, Chillicothe, and Ashland, or online, WagnerRental.com.
The weather is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. For low prices on snacks, soft drinks, and quality Marathon gasoline, visit the Clark's Pump and Shop nearest you. Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Return, refresh, refuel.
Cool Hits weather.
We'll see variable clouds today with scattered thunderstorms, a high of 83, 70% chance of scattered thunderstorms Saturday night, low of 68. We'll start out the day on Sunday with thunderstorms with a chance of scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. High should be of 78.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Back on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us this morning. Before I get into the rant this week, we said at the beginning of the year, Cincinnati was mathematically eliminated from the postseason in spring training. Believe it or not, the Reds are not eliminated from postseason play yet. Their elimination number is 8. Okay, so the way that works is that any loss or a St. Louis win, which is the division leader, takes away from that number. So essentially 4 losses and 4 wins by the Cardinals, and the Reds are out. But they're not mathematically eliminated on September the 3rd. Go figure that. The only 3 teams currently eliminated from postseason chances: Washington, Colorado, Oakland, and you've got one team that's hanging on by dear life, Miami. Their magic elimination number is 2. Either way. It's time for the Border Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. Border Sporting Goods at US 60 in Cannonsburg for all your hunting and fishing needs, as well as Liberty Gun Safes. See the good folks at Border Sporting Goods US 60 in Cannonsburg. Brad Taylor says the whole store's on sale. No, just kidding. Just rods and reels. And he will get you a deal. Anything that you buy at regular price, he'll match it with a second one the same price. You can't buy that anywhere. I mean, great deals. Seriously. Brad will take care of you. The staff out there, phenomenal people, have some of the best products in the area. All of my fishing stuff comes from there. They stand behind their work, and every time you go in there, you're served with a smile. So you need hunting, fishing stuff. It's getting around close to hunting season coming up. Those big bucks are out there roaming around. So anything you need, head out there to Borders and pick up all your goods before you head off to hunt or fish. Walmart again, for the love of God. So you go to Walmart and you try to find a checkout line, forget it, okay? There's 37 checkout lines. There's one person maybe working. And it's even to the point they have the self-checkout lines now. They can't even keep both of those operating. Now, they've got the little kiosks to where there's like 8 or 10 of those that you go in, and if you got a few items and stuff, but you're not going to take a full buggy of items over to there. So the issue is there's nobody to run the checkouts, okay? So you're either regulated to stand in a Black Friday line if you do go to the one checkout that there's a human being in. Find the one line of the self-checkout that happens to be working, but again, you've got most people standing in there that has no idea what they're doing, and they screw everything up trying to use it. Or you're going to have to make like 37 trips and make small purchases to go over into the kiosks. So there's not enough people to run the registers, but these personal shoppers that you got, you know, the little blue buggy people, well, now they're blue buggy being in pairs. Yeah, so there's one person that is punching the little thing on the computer, and the other one is putting the thing in the bag and putting it over in the bag. Are you kidding me? I could take a trained chimpanzee, for the love of God, give them a list and have them go get stuff off the shelf at Walmart. Now it takes 2 people. And what are they doing? They're not trying to give any form of customer service whatsoever. All they're doing is standing there talking to each other. They've got their AirPods in, listening to music. God knows what they're doing on those. But you are irrelevant if you are in their world. We saw 3 blue baskets with 2 people on each one of them last time I went in that store. And I looked at my wife, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. There's the rant right there. I mean, it's just the ability to provide customer service for Walmart is not there. They don't care. They just want you to come and buy. And the best thing they could do is strip out every single one of those checkouts, put in self-checkouts, and just leave it alone. And I wish they would. And some Walmarts have done that. They've really kind of taken it down to maybe like 3 or 4 checkouts that a human being would be in, and the rest of it's all self-checkouts. I would really like to see it go that way, because here's the thing. I understand the argument people say, if you do that, you're going to take away people's jobs. Well, if there's nobody standing there, you're not taking anybody's job, okay? I hate to break it to you, but that's the way it works. Walmart, please, get this under control. You don't need 2 people on the stupid blue baskets, okay? And if they do, you probably need to find them another job, because I don't think they're qualified for the difficult task that is read something off a list, put it in a bag, put it in your little blue crate. That's the Border Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. A big thanks to our guest this morning, Mike Sammons from Raceland Football and Luke Creasy from the Herald Dispatch. Don't forget KCU football this afternoon. You can catch it on Cool TV as well as on the Cool Hits Sports Network app. 1:30 kickoff from Grayson will be on the air at 1:10. Dwayne only messed up once today, but we'll still messed up last night all over the place. Of course, he always does. Guys, hey, don't forget, long weekend for most, Labor Day on Monday. If you do have that long weekend, certainly enjoy the time with your friends and family as we get ready to start to push toward fall and, golly, Christmas coming up soon. Dwayne can't handle it. Dwayne, have a good weekend, my friend. For everyone here at the station, for Dwayne Elliott, I'm James Carr. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You've been listening to Let's Talk Sports on Cool Hits